What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino over there. Drinking on the podcast, which is just that's going to lead to nothing but a good show. We're also kind of wearing the same colored shirt.
Yeah, but mine's like a turtle thingy. It's cool.
Oh, so you can go
Ninja.
Join Antifa after this. Oh. But this is the Only Sports Podcast. That's right, the Only Sports Podcast. And today we're talking about NFL. We didn't get to do a second podcast last week.
No, we didn't.
Just because obviously Casino has a baby. I have kids. I have to go to physical therapy 3 times a week because I was in 2 car accidents within 6 days of each other. So we ran out of time.
Which I'm very upset with you that you're not wearing your back brace and your headgear that you're supposed to be wearing, sir.
Yeah. My neck brace and my back brace, I will spare the audience from seeing me in. But yes, my neck does hurt like a mother. But let's go over the picks we did. We just obviously made the picks off the podcast.
And wouldn't you know it, we got them all right. What?
Yeah. No, Casino still has the high watermark of the season at 12 picks correct. Last weekend. This weekend, you thought you did bad, Casino.
I did.
How many picks do you think you got right?
I thought I got like 7, 8.
You got 10. You picked 10 games correctly.
Okay.
You did not pick the Dolphins. You did not pick the Bills, the Jags, the Rams, the Ravens, or the Titans. And then
so all the teams that blew out the other teams. Got it.
Yeah. And then I also got 10 picks correct. But we do have to I listened to the podcast. You did pick the Eagles last week.
Okay. So 13's the watermark.
The watermark is 13, which brings our season
13
total.
of 16. That's not bad.
That's really good. I don't think we'll see another week like that. Who knows? I mean, it's only week. We're heading into.
No, I'm going for a perfect 16. If I don't, you got to find a new host.
Perfect 16. We have to light off sparklers, do a whole dance, make a big show of it because that will be impressive. But our season totals right now, I am at 34 wins, 31 losses. You are at 40 wins, 26 losses. So you are 6 ahead of me. So yeah, but we will not be doing picks for week 5 on this show, except for the only game, which is a Thursday night game, which is just awful. Do you know what the Thursday night game is, Casino?
Looking at it right now. Oh yeah, that sounds fun.
It
might be like the Monday night game that just happened.
Oh, that's true. But it is the Bears at the Commanders. And I still, especially after how good they played the Eagles this week, they've only really had one bad game this season. I still think the Commanders are a playoff team.
I do. I'm calling them. Yep.
Let's just segue this into the worst game of the weekend, not in terms of entertainment value, in terms of both teams. Bears-Broncos. Are the Bears the worst team in the league?
I don't know. I mean, their record shows that they are, but they're probably the worst team. I mean, my Patriots are going to be pretty dang close.
Oh, we'll jump to that game next, but
they might be the worst player, the worst team in the league.
Yeah. So the Broncos-Bears game, shockingly entertaining for what these two teams are. I believe at one point, wasn't it? It was 28-27 Bears. Justin Fields had like 12 for 12, 3 touchdowns, like 100 or like 200 yards, and everybody was losing their shit on football Twitter and was just like, this is who we knew Justin Fields could be. They unleashed him, all this kind of stuff. And then the rest of the game happened and he turned back into a pumpkin. And then Russell Wilson, I do think though, the funniest outcome of this season. True or false, the funniest outcome of this season would have been Broncos don't win a single game, and then Sean Payton just gets mad every week talking to reporters asking him about Nathaniel Hackett.
That'd be funny.
But
but you know what? Neither quarterback, like looking at their numbers, weren't too bad. I mean, Russell Wilson was 21 for 28, over 200 yards, 3 TDs. And yeah, Justin Fields looked good. He was 28 for 35, 4 touchdowns. Yes, he threw an interception, but I mean, this game was way more entertaining than it should have been with these two teams. And I just can't believe.
I believe he also lost a fumble. I think he fumbled as well in the fourth quarter.
Possibly. I don't see the fumble up here, but I would assume so. I honestly didn't watch really any of that game. So fumbles lost. Yeah, it looks like, he did lose one.
But I watched the Commanders Eagles on the big screen shockingly, Casino, for the 10 a.m. schedules. I had Red Zone, Eagles, Commanders, and then Bears, Broncos, just because I wanted.
For some reason, I couldn't get the Eagles Commanders game.
Well, because it was on national television. It was like the Fox game. Yeah, which I mean, that was a great game, but we're not jumping to that one yet, Casino. Let's talk about your fucking team.
They're done. Stick a fork in them.
The Cowboys mollywop the Patriots 38-3. But the
turnover galore.
The real question mark coming out of this game is the Mac Jones era in New England officially dead.
All day. All day. And it's crazy because
like Patriots fan, you're done with them.
I'm done with them. I'm done with them. Throwing Zappy until we get tank. Get the kid from USC. Call it a day. But Mac just looked bad. I mean, he had a fumble. He had 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, 150 yards, like garbage. He was garbage out there. And that running game, dude, I love Ramondre Stevenson. And I do think, though, it has a lot to do with the offensive line. The team is just bad. The team is just bad, all in all. Our defense was the one thing that was going to be good for the Patriots this year. Like I said, they were supposed to be a top 5 defense. But in that game alone, their draft pick in Gonzalez, he tore part of his abdomen. It was like an abdomen tear. And then our best defensive player with oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Judon. Judon. He tore his bicep, and so they're out indefinitely for the year. And so that's hurting. I mean, I've already talked about all the Joneses being out, so that's wonderful news. So the defense is just gone now. So the Patriots literally have nothing. But the big story coming out of this one, though, because the Patriots, we didn't even have them making the playoffs or anything like that. But the big story is the Cowboys with Micah Parsons, dude, getting hurt.
Yeah. Well, also with the Cowboys, next, I believe it's Sunday night. It's Cowboys-Niners. Yeah. So if they don't have Micah Parsons for that game, that's the first game of the season they've
I think it's Micah.
Micah? What do I always say Micah, right?
You always say Micah, but it's Micah Parsons.
Well, because I get Micah Fitzpatrick and Micah Parsons mixed up. They like one is a K, one is a C, but yeah, it's Micah. Yes. I mean, it's a great name. Micah Parsons, both are great names. We're obviously not the fan. I'm a fan of the player if he was literally on any other team. But when you're on the Cowboys, you get overhyped to infinity where everybody just keeps being like, Dak Prescott, top 10 quarterback. And then he never like shows anything that makes you think he's a top 10 quarterback. But we just have to put him in there just because he's on the Cowboys. If he was on the fucking Texans, nobody would give a shit. But as far as the Cowboys, Casino, this is the debut of a new game we are playing right here because Patience or Panic will still say a couple of these teams as well. But right now, we're going to go juggernauts, sustainable or suspect, which means what we've seen from this team, can they keep this momentum going or is it, mirages in the desert where it's only, because the beginning of the season, people are going to figure them out. And then they're just going to be, come December, we're going to be like, we thought that team was going to be good, blah, blah, blah. So the first name on this list, and we'll go through the names when we talk about their games. The first name on this list is the Cowboys. Do you think what the Cowboys are right now is sustainable, or do you think it is suspect?
Suspect all day. All day.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my reason on that. Again, obviously their defense is really good. They're really good. But their offense, in my opinion, it's mediocre. It's not horrible. It's better than the Patriots, that's for sure. But their offense is mediocre. I don't trust Dak. And it's just I'm worried with all of the players that are starting to like just get little bumps and bruises. These are players that they need. Mika Parsons, Zach Martin, Rico Dowdle, something like that. Plus left tackle Tyron Smith. Like he's been fixing on his knee injury that he's been dealing with for the past couple weeks. Like he's continuing his rehab on that. Like this team is banged up, and especially if Parsons, all it's been said that is he's just banged up a little bit, tweaked a little bit. He should be back, but I'm still worried about that. Is he going to be 100%? I don't know. So with all that being said, I just don't think that when they get to like the Niners, this is going to be a tall order for them this coming week going against the Niners. If they want to actually sustain, like, I don't think they're going to. I think they're suspect all day.
Well, I also do think, you look at what they've done so far this season. They did the 40 burger against the Giants in week 1, Sunday Night Football.
Giants.
Yeah,
we saw how great they were last night.
They blew out the Jets 30-10. They lost to the Cardinals.
The Jets without Rodgers. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. And then they lost to the Cardinals 28-16, and then blew out the Patriots 38-3. So you just mentioned
they blew out 3 teams that they're supposed to blow out, but yet they still lost to the Cardinals. Suspect.
And see, that is why Giants right now, it's Giants Bears for worst team in the at least NFC. Right? Like NFC, I don't think there's a question. It's Bears or Giants. Maybe you can throw in one other team like maybe the Panthers, even though I think they're infinitely better than both the Bears and the Giants. The Jets are led by Zach Wilson, and their defense, besides last night, has looked like maybe one of the worst defenses in the league, which like the Patriots, who we thought Jets going into the season, Patriots, Jets would have top 5 defenses. Now
Patriots did have a top 5 defense. That they did. And then literally 8 starter. I think I know of 7, but it might be 8 starters on the defense that are out, that are playmakers.
Yeah. No, I'm
rough.
I'm not saying they're fully healthy or anything like that.
And it's not even like bumps and bruises, dude. Like 2 of them are out for the season.
Yeah. But then the interesting thing to me about the Cowboys' 3 blowout wins is offense hasn't really done anything. They haven't really needed to, but they also don't. It looks like they're going into San Francisco and they still haven't figured out what their offense even is.
Right.
So if you're going against a 49ers team that is going to be by far the best offense you've played, that means you're going to also have to put up points. And we've seen Dak Prescott, like his kryptonite, he owns my Eagles. He's like 8-3 against the Eagles when he starts. But against the 49ers, he's like 1-5 or something like that. Like the 49ers just have his number. So
in division, out of division. Remember those divisional games, they're much, much tougher. They mean more.
Yeah. And I do think, even as to try to be an objective Cowboy hater, I do think we're going to see in the next 4 weeks if this is sustainable, what they have here, because they do 49ers Sunday night, Chargers that following Monday, Rams the following Sunday, and then Eagles in Philadelphia that following Sunday. So they have 4 teams right now. I mean, Chargers aren't a playoff team, but they're feisty. Rams, Eagles, 49ers, all probably playoff teams, obviously if Stafford stays healthy. But yeah, so I do think I agree with you. They're a little suspect, but I do think if they can figure out their offense, it's sustainable because of how good that defense has
Can't play
looked.
both sides of the fence there, bud. Pick one. Pick one.
I'm going to say sustainable,
Thank you.
especially in the
Okay.
NFC. I just think right now it's 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys, and then
No.
kind of everybody else. I
Meh.
think.
I mean, are
But
they going to make the playoffs? Yes, but are they like? No, they're not. They're not the Super Bowl team that everybody thinks they are.
Casino, don't make me defend the Cowboys. I can't do this.
We
can't.
no, this is great. This is my whole ploy. I'm trying to do it. Let's do it.
I tried to find
defend,
this.
defend them. Let's go. Let's hear.
Uh,
If you don't, I win.
now you win.
Yay!
But
That's one of my first wins against you in a long time.
let's go to the Toy Story game.
Also, you didn't say anything about my hair, buddy. Come
You're
on.
going. It looks like you're going George Clooney, or not George Clooney. You're going Russell Crowe, Gladiator. Yeah.
Just got to work on the body.
I'm Russell
Crowe
Crowe now.
Yeah, I'm Russell. I'm Russell Crowe from
The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys.
You got his head from Gladiator, body from The Nice Guys. So it looks good. It looks good. But
and the day drinking problem of Ryan Gosling.
Or actually, no, you know who you look like? This is the hairstyle of Sid from Toy Story. Speaking of Toy Story, let's talk about...
You just trimmed it down. How do I look like Sid from Toy Story? You're a dick.
Let's talk about the Jaguars-Falcons game in London at 6 a.m. our West Coast time.
6:30.
I don't know who the fuck would want... Like, even if you're a fan of Jaguars Falcons, I feel like I just wake up normal and then just either watch a replay or be like, oh, I wonder what happened. The Jaguars win 23-7. But really the talking point coming out of this game is, did you watch any of the Toy Story version of this game, Casino?
Yeah, my daughter for some reason decided, hey, let's get up at 6 o'clock. I was like, okay.
That's a good point. People with kids, this is probably like a godsend.
Like, she's been at a 7 o'clock recently, and I was like, okay, that's early. She's starting to go to 6:37, and then yeah, of course, Sunday it was like 6, and I was like, okay, this gives me a reason to wake up and watch this game. And we watched the first 10-15 minutes. I was trying to be generous with it. It was so glitchy. It was such a cool concept, and I liked how the things that they had, like the crane, the claw was spotting the ball. Yeah. My favorite was Slinky Dog being the down markers. I thought that was really funny, but it was so bad. It was so glitchy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at, where it's great concept, kind of great execution, but obviously because I mean, you try to do anything.
I mean, doing that
live.
alive, that was cool. Like when it was on, that was really neat. That was really cool. But it's got to sustain. So suspect.
I do think
Disney Toy Story football suspect.
I do think this is one of those things where if they did it every week, by the end of the season, they'd be like, we figured it out. Right. And this could just be like a new thing they can do.
I don't know. I mean, trying to figure out that software, I don't know. That seems like a lot. I'm not a computer genius, but that seems like a lot.
Wait. Just to be clear, let me write this down. You're not a computer genius.
No, I just blow up toys.
That's true. And the whole time you were watching this game, you were like, man, I want to strap Trevor Lawrence to a rocket. Man, and then
as my wife just reminded me, and then become a garbage man. The daughter's been on a Toy Story thing, so we've been watching all that. And in Toy Story 3, Sid is the garbage man.
Oh, that's true. Well, there's a rumor. I don't think it's confirmed. He's wearing the same shirt.
He's wearing the same shirt, and he's the same doofus. He's the same guy.
Yeah. But as far as the game goes, Casino, I didn't even put them on the docket, but I do want to ask, is Desmond Ritter suspect or I already forgot my phrasing.
Uh,
Suspect or sustainable
yeah, see,
as the Falcons
I
quarterback?
don't like you did it last time with what was it? It wasn't suspect and sustainable. It was
Patience or panic,
yeah,
which we're still going to do.
just I don't like come on, man. Ugh. Um,
Suspect or sustainable as the Falcons quarterback, Desmond
yeah,
Ritter.
Desmond Ritter. It's too early to tell, man. I truly think so. I mean, he's a rookie quarterback. He just started playing. Uh, suspect, suspect.
Yeah. Oh, on the season, he has 744 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions with a QBR of 77.9. So he's like, I mean, honestly, they're a 2-2 team. He kind of feels like a 2-2 quarterback, right? Like he kind of feels like he'll not lose you some games and then he'll lose some games. And then that's kind of just I don't expect him to march down 90 yards and win games, but if they got a lead going into the fourth, like I think he can sustain it, but I don't know how this Falcons team right now is going to finish. Like I don't think they're what we were talking them when they were 2-0 about like, oh, could they potentially win the NFC South? I think right now I'd take almost everybody in that division over them and then it'd be a coin flip with the Panthers and Falcons. Like I'd take the Bucks and Saints over the Falcons right now, no
Yeah,
question.
there's a clear divide between those four teams and two different categories there. Um, but yeah, I think he's suspect. I think he'll look good going against the Texans coming up on the 8th. But besides that, eh, meh.
Well, speaking of, let's get to the Texans and their quarterback, who I just think is like always popping up on Red Zone, like making me interested to watch Texans games. The Texans win 30-6 against the Steelers. Kenny Pickett, has there been news? Is he out? Because I know you text me during that game. It was like Kenny Pickett's
Um,
injured. He's out.
yes, let me pull that up.
But as far as the
Go for it.
Texans go, CJ Stroud, I mean, this season so far, 1,200 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions with a 100.6 rating. And
Ah,
again, when we were previewing the season, the thing with the Texans was we were like, who the fuck is this guy going to throw to? They have nobody on offense. And then whenever you watch like Texans games or whatever, they're all over red zone because they're scoring left and right. Like they have Damian Pierce, who I picked up in my fantasy league. You gave me shit, but he's actually been pretty decent.
I gave you
But
shit because he's on the Texans. That's why.
well, that's what I'm
But I
saying.
can't talk. I can't talk shit. Like my fantasy league, I won my first 2 games, and I'll be lucky to win any more the rest of the season. Every single one of my players is getting hurt, and
Yeah.
then being in a 12-man league with an extra position, I offensive position, I've got nothing, and they extended the bench down one extra person. So
Yeah.
literally, there's nobody to
Oh, I
pick up.
know. Yeah, I'm in a 12-man league too. I have 3 quarterbacks, and I was like, I don't need 3 quarterbacks. Literally nobody I can pick up. Everybody is gone, so I just have 3 quarterbacks. But for the Texans, Nico Collins has had 2 games this season, including against the Steelers, 7 receptions, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then against the Colts, 7 receptions, 146 yards, 1 touchdown. Who is Nico Collins? I don't know, but he has emerged as like a real threat on the Texans. So I will say for the Texans, I definitely, especially after watching this game with all their young talent, I like the future for the Texans more than I like the future for the Steelers and both these teams are 2-2.
You were so hyped up on the Steelers.
I know. I am so even if Kenny Pickett is 100% healthy, I'm off the Steelers bandwagon. They've dropped me off at my house and I'm never thinking about going on that bandwagon again.
Speaking of
Out of my
Steelers and Kenny Pickett, it was he's okay. It was a bone bruise in his left
mind. Ugh.
knee, and he'll practice in some capacity on Wednesday, is what Tomlin said. So it's where we're at.
I've had weekends all to myself where the kids and wife are gone, and I've done some bone bruises. You know what I'm saying, Casino? I can feel his pain. He's got a week to heal. He should be fine, but I've been there, man. Drink Gatorade. All right, next up.
Pedialyte.
Next up, a game that
I know.
I'm trying to get stricken from our picks, Casino, because both you
No.
and I got this wrong.
Nope.
Well, no. The Ravens win 28-3 against the Browns, and it was decided Deshaun Watson was just out of this game, 4 minutes before the fucking ball kicked off? When the fuck did they announce he was out for the game? Because he's out for the game. We get Thompson Robinson, who goes 19
Dorian
for 36,
Thompson Robinson.
121 yards, 3 interceptions.
3 interceptions.
And what do we do? Like, the Browns were going to be me and my friend at work were talking about who we're betting or whatever. I was like, under Browns in fucking everything. And then all of a sudden, Deshaun Watson is just like, oh, I got a massage again, and now I'm out because I got a bone bruise.
I got a bone bruise. I don't, I mean, you could strike it from it, but it doesn't matter. We both picked it. It doesn't matter. But I do think that they could have had a chance to beat the Ravens. Obviously I picked them. I thought that, but I wasn't going to say it was going to be a blowout if I recall right, but I did have the Browns, and not because Watson's good, but he's better than a 3 interception rookie, just to keep it somewhat competitive out there.
And I mean, with your backup quarterback, what the fuck are you doing if you're the Browns, making him throw it 36 times? What are you doing?
I don't know. The Patriots have a backup quarterback named Mac Jones, and they were having him throw 50 times. Who knows?
But yeah, the Ravens, Casino. Lamar Jackson, kind of on pace for maybe his best passing season since the MVP season.
I agree with you there. Yeah.
Do you think this Ravens team is suspect or sustainable?
They're sustainable as long as, even with, because like some of their players did come back this week that were injured. That's why I chose against them 2 weeks ago and they lost, which I had right. Yeah. But with their players being healthy again, because they were just minor injuries, Lamar Jackson is playing really well. He had 4 total touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing. Yeah, 2 passing, 2 rushing. There we go. Man, I don't know why I'm slurring at all. I have no clue. But anyway, no, he's doing really well. I mean, he's not passing a lot, but he's making them count. Like, only passing 15 times and you're just shy of 200 yards with 2 TDs. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah. And I think especially doing that on offense this game against what myself, yourself, and probably many people think is the best defense in the league right now, the Browns. Like, I know they didn't have any offense whatsoever, but you still have to go. You still have to go up against them, and to score 28 points, like you said, passing, running. And then you look at their wins. So they beat the Colts last week in OT. Then they beat the Bengals, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then they blew out the Texans, where the Texans look like a pretty damn good team, a pretty damn good offense, and they held them to 9 points. So this Ravens defense is suspect, but I do think, much like what you said, the healthier this team gets, they're already a 3-1 team and they're missing a shitload of starters. So the second they start getting all these healthy guys back, like, this could be a, 7-1 Ravens team, and then all of a sudden they're healthy. And then it's just going to be like.
And I think it's safe to say that this Ravens team will win this division.
Yeah. No, I think.
Well, I mean, I say that now. Because with Deshaun Watson having hit Deshaun Watson, this is going to be a fun episode. He's out with his right shoulder, so if he can't get that fixed, and which massage therapist is going to take him now, so
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, he's just gonna have a bum shoulder this entire time, and dealing with that, and then yeah, some bone pains as well. So tough for him. I mean, double injury, and yeah, I worry about them again. Watson's not good. I don't think he's a good quarterback anymore, but he's better than what they had, and with that defense, look look what Super Bowl 50. Look with what Peyton Manning did with that Broncos. His arm
True.
was gone. He was a horrible quarterback that year. Their defense just won it. So, the Browns could still be good, but they got to have a quarterback in there that is competent enough to not throw 3 interceptions in a game.
Or a coaching staff that's competent to realize we shouldn't have our backup quarterback who is not good throw the ball 30 times, and instead let's just run the ball 30 times. Like, why not? Why would you risk it? But let's move on to another team from the AFC North, which ourselves and every other person who watches football completely got wrong, because I don't know what the fuck's wrong with this team, Casino. The Bengals lose to the Titans 27-3. The Bengals now 1-3. I don't even have to do patience or panic or suspect or sustainable. They're suspect. They are
Just say good or bad. Why do we have to use these crazy ass words?
they are how is it not panic mode in
Oh,
Cincinnati?
I've said it was panic mode. Like I said, with the Bills, coming after that first week bum job that both these teams did, they had to show up in week 2 for me not to be like worried for them. Well, yeah, Bengals are done. Bengals are done. Joe Burrow is just what happened to this team? Like, what happened to this team?
Dude, and again, like it's not like Joe Burrow is still
And
injured.
they're not losing close ones. Like, they're just bad.
Yeah. And the thing I do not understand about this Bengals team is they brought back the same team from last year. I'm assuming Burrow is still hurt, but also he's like not putting up bad numbers or good numbers. They're kind of just like mediocre. So it's not like he's losing them games and then we have the excuse of he's injured or whatever. It's just like he's showing up doing the bare minimum, like in terms of quarterbacking, right? He had 20 for 30, 165 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So that's like just nothing, right? That's not going to win you games. That's not
No.
going to lose you games. Well, it obviously lost at this game, but that's just mediocre across the board. And
And
then
it's going
you
to lose in the
have
games. Yes.
well, yeah. And then but you still have Chase, you still have Boyd, you still have Higgins, all healthy on this offense, and Mixon can't do anything. The wide receivers can't do anything. Burrow's obviously not doing anything. The defense is giving 27 points up to a Titans offense that is a bottom 5 offense in the league. They have nobody. So what is the solution to this team, Casino? Because this Bengals team, like you said, they're not losing close games except against the Rams where they squeaked out a victory. They're getting blown out by the Titans, by the Browns, and then they lost a close game to the Ravens. But Browns and Titans don't have top 5 offenses, right? They're kind of middling offenses that they're just getting blown the doors off of.
Dude, I really feel like at this point we've talked about it that they should not be playing Burrow. He's injured. You're not playing well. Like if you were even 2-2, fine. Try to get in the playoffs and hopefully that he'll be all right. But you're just going to injure him more. You need to let the guy rest, and you need to start planning now on how to keep all of your players for next season and be
Yeah.
able to have one last go at it before people are gone, like gone, and they can't afford him anymore because they
Yeah.
want to get paid. You might be able to squeak by and just be like, okay, hey, um, can you do one more year? Obviously, we didn't have a good year last year. Joe Burrow was hurt. We weren't 100%. Let's just recap it one more year. Go for the Super Bowl. We've been in the title chase the last 5 years. Let's go for it. So
Yeah, kind of
you
just like
you got to
run it
start
back kind of
planning.
thing.
Yeah, you got to start planning to plan for that now. So
Ugh. I mean, if you would have said week 4, Bengals are worst team in their division by far, and they're in last place, would you'd be like, there's no fucking way. And I would also be like, nobody's injured enough to miss a game. Like, nobody's missed a game with injury. You'd be like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. But let's move on to a team you just mentioned, the Bills and Dolphins. The Dolphins, after coming off that 70-point game, only put up 20, as opposed to the Bills, who win this game 48-20.
And it
Casino,
seemed
right?
like that they were getting ready to put up a 70 burger.
Yeah.
They were dominate against Miami.
Right now, at this moment, are the Bills the best team in the AFC?
At this moment, well, you'd have to say yes because they absolutely blew out Miami, who everybody had as the number one from last week. So
Yeah.
you've got to go with the Bills now. You just have to.
I do think that we are going to look back on that week 1 Bills Jets game and be like, that was the outlier for the season, because obviously that atmosphere, that moment, that build up, and then Josh Allen just lays a goose egg in that game. And then since then, they've blown out the Raiders. They blew out the Commanders, and they blew out the Dolphins. I mean, both Dolphins and Commanders, good teams, both playoff teams. Like, I think right now the Bills are the most impressive team, maybe to me, in the league, just because of, like, again, we talked about it. Cowboys 49ers are blowing out teams that are kind of going to go nowhere this season, and teams we know are bad and we've seen be bad against other worse teams than the Niners and Cowboys. However, the Bills are blowing out a Commanders team that everybody thinks is pretty good, just played Philadelphia really hard. Now, I know that's a divisional game, so it's different, but I mean, I watched that whole game. Commanders, that defense is legit. That offense with Bieniemy, I mean, we'll talk about that game. They had some dumb plays, but when Sam Howell is on, I'm scared of Sam Howell. Like, especially because the Commanders weirdly have the Eagles' numbers in this Sirianni Hurts era. But yeah, to get back on the Bills, I mean, to blow out the Dolphins 48-20. Obviously, the Bills are a much better competition than the Broncos. But just looking at these stats, Josh Allen had his first good game of the season, 21 for 25, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 6 receptions, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. They held Tyreek Hill in check, which I think is the most impressive thing coming out of this game. Hill, only 3 receptions, 58 yards. And then Akane had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Tua, only 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not a bad game, but not a great game by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah, I still think the Dolphins are a great team, but
Me
I
too.
think the Bills, I think the Bills might be the best team in the league. At least so far in September. Let's move to my team, Casino, because I just mentioned them. The Eagles win a victory in OT, squeaking out the win, 34-31. They are now one of 2 teams. We'll talk about the next team in a second, but they are
They're
the
good.
only one of 2 teams in the league who are 4-0. So I'm going to ask Casino, the Eagles, suspect or sustainable?
Sustainable. Sustainable all day. Like they missed out last year on the Super Bowl. They've talked about how they want to, run it back and do their best to, fulfill that destiny, that dream that they were so close to hitting, and they're playing hard. And this is what you want to see, against a divisional team, against a team that is going to probably be in the playoffs with the Commanders. You're able to win those close matchups when they need to be won. And I like the Eagles. Sorry, I can't believe I said that, but I like I like the Eagles and how they're playing right now. It's gonna be tough to get past San Fran. That's gonna be fun, especially since Brock Purdy will most likely be there this time around. I'm looking forward to all of the media between those two teams. But yeah, no, I think they're sustainable as hell. Looking good. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a pretty damn good day, over 300 yards,
And
2 TD.
I do want to say the Eagles Buccaneers game was the first game where I was like, oh, this is what this team's supposed to look like. But that was not a Jalen Hurts game. That was a defense and running back game that kind of took over and beat what I think is still a playoff caliber, pretty damn good Bucks team. Who I also think is a pretty damn good playoff caliber team is the Commanders, who in the past, like, couple years in the Sirianni Hurts era have just had Philadelphia's number. Like, I'm much
I mean,
more
that
scared.
happens. That happens with teams, man,
Yeah. Well, like
especially within division.
all the Brady years, like no matter how bad the Dolphins were, they would always just get one on you guys like a year and you'd be like, how the fuck are we losing to the Dolphins? That's kind of been how the Commanders are,
No, I
where
know how is because they put Gronkowski back there on a oh, wait. I'm good. I'm good.
But I know every year we're going to split 1-1 with the Cowboys. We're going to beat the Giants. And then the Commanders are the ones where it's like, I know we're going to lose one of the two games to them. We might lose both games. Both games are going to be close. I'm always scared to play the Commanders, especially everybody who was hyping up this game was like, Eagles are going to blow them out. Eagles are going to blow them out. And I just kept going into this game being like, did we forget that what Eric Bieniemy did to our defense in the Super Bowl? Like, he's going to be the one calling plays. He fucking carved us up.
Well, a lot of people don't listen to our podcast. They don't listen
Bro.
to the Only Sports podcast and know that, Bieniemy was now the Commanders guy. Like, come on. So
And I will say, there were, I believe I took a screenshot of it. The Commanders were one of them. And then there were, so the Commanders, the Chargers, and your Patriots all tried to do the tush push, brotherly shove, the Eagles quarterback sneak in week 4. Guess how many of them failed, Casino?
all but the Eagles.
All of them but the Eagles. So this bullshit narrative that like has carried over from last season of it's an unstoppable play. Everybody can just do it and win. Like, no, it isn't. The Eagles are just good at it, and everybody hates that they're good at it because nobody can stop it. But you can
But
stop
that's also
it
because they have a
every
good
other
offensive
team.
line.
Well, and somebody was like breaking it down. It's like Hurts gets lower than other quarterbacks on sneaks, and I don't know. It's all this kind of
That is a massive thing because that's why Brady was so good at the quarterback sneak is because he got low. Like for being as tall as he is, he got low and he drove through. Whoever said that is 100% right because that is and if you watch, because remember I talked about Jacoby Brissett,
yes.
and when he was doing that with Cleveland last year, and everybody was like, why are they just like putting in this quarterback, for that? Or like when he was in Indy, they kept putting in Jacoby Brissett for like the 1 yard pushes for the quarterback sneak, is because he was taught by Brady on how to do that. It is 100% a thing. You get low, you get under, and if you try to go up over into the pile, it's not going to work. And we saw that multiple times just this week.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Eagles and their offensive line, little side note, did you watch the Kelsey documentary yet?
I have not had time. No. Have you watched it? It's good.
It is really good. It is really good. I enjoyed it heavily.
I love Jason Kelsey. Every clip I see,
I love Jason Kelsey a lot too. I like his wife more. Not only is she like super pretty, and my wife even agreed, but she is like very, very down to earth, like normal. What you would want to be like you're a superstar, what you would want your wife to be as a superstar, which is not like that supermodel, like Tom Brady, Giselle thing. She's just like a normal person. That was the first thing we both said. We're just like, huh, Jason Kelsey's wife. She's normal. Like, that's pretty cool.
And that is a compliment. I love it. If I ever say you're a normal person, that is a compliment, especially talking about celebrities. Like,
it was great.
I've been wanting to watch
Check it out. And it does make you realize that Jason is super cool and Travis is kind of a tool.
Oh, I mean, you could listen to their show and like kind of get that and
I
it's
am now I'm now subscribed to their show on Snapchat because I think it's pretty good. It's actually pretty funny.
it is pretty good.
They show the highlights of their first time, which is not a sports podcast. Theirs is just a regular podcast. They
Yeah,
just talk
because
about their
we're the only
lives.
sports
Yeah,
podcast.
they talk about their
Read
lives, which
above.
just so happens to be somewhat about football. But I mean, they talk about their lives.
Yeah.
So, more than they do anything else. So anyway, just throwing that out there. But their episode reminded me so much of our first episode about like, we're gonna be better, we promise. Sorry, this was bad, and like they're stumbling, kind of like how we are now. We still stumble over things that
Yeah.
we're gonna
And
say.
then, but difference is they got better. We've maintained,
Well,
right?
it's pretty much easier. It's pretty much. It is easier to get better when you have the proper equipment, when you have the proper guests.
It's true.
Yeah,
When you
mean,
don't have screaming children in the background.
oh no, they have
Or
screaming children, but there's a part in
Oh.
there where it shows. I think her name's Kylie. Kylie Kelsey was literally like had the kids in the background and was like shh and like calming them down.
Oh, okay.
We don't get that.
But no, I will check out
Check it
that
out. It's really
documentary.
good.
I've
Yeah,
been
no,
wanting to watch it.
it's
Yeah.
solid. Oh no. Okay. Sounds good. My bad.
But speaking of the Eagles and this thing, I did think this was the first Jalen Hurts game of the season where whenever they were down, I like obviously I had anxiety watching my team, but I had no fear that Jalen Hurts would not tie it up. And that I don't give a shit about the what do they call it? Like the metrics or what are those called where people are talking about like the computer programs that like are just like
Analytics.
analytics. I do not give a single flying fuck about analytics when there is
Analytics.
there you go. When there is a minute 20 left in the game, and instead of doing 3 runs to try to get into field goal range, you launch it to your number 1 wide receiver and get a touchdown, and it's at home, and the crowd's going fucking nuts. And then AJ Brown, I think the stupidest penalty in all of sports is taunting. That's across the board. It didn't affect my team, or I mean, it kind of did, but not enough to like make it be like they lost because of taunting, because they still won. But AJ Brown taunts the guy he's been fighting with all game on the game-winning touchdown pass, and then gets a penalty. It's enforced on the kickoff, like all that kind of stuff. I don't give a shit what team you're on. I don't care. Obviously, I care if you do it against my team, but not enough to be like, it should be outlawed. Taunting, grown men not being able to taunt each other after catching or blocking a pass or whatever the fuck it is, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. Like, oh, you're afraid they're gonna what? Hurt the other guy? Like, why is that a penalty? Who gives a flying fuck? Like, yeah. But then Sam Howell marches down the field, and I'll tell you what, the Eagles winning this game, and we're going to switch to the Chiefs-Jets game right after this. The officiating,
Because we buried the lead, by the way, for this whole podcast.
Oh,
buried it. We're buried it to the very end.
But the officiating this weekend across the spectrum, I mean, is it just now a given that refs in the NFL are just bad? Like, is there ever going to be a chance where they're fucking good? Because this Commanders Eagles game, dear Lord. And it was on both sides, but it was always for the Commanders. It was always on a 3rd down play. They were getting some foul or some penalty where even the announcers were like, oh yeah, I mean, I can kind of like, it was always a penalty that was fucking ticky-tack that like extended the drive, and it was making me lose my fucking mind. Now,
the one that blew my mind was the one that you sent me, was like holding, like that holding penalty that was not called.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, speaking of, let's move over to the Jets-Chiefs game of a 3rd and 20 where the Jets or the Kansas City offensive lineman is just literally holding the Jets guy up. The Jets guy takes his arms off and is like flailing his arms around as if to be like, this guy's holding me. Like, what the fuck? And then he starts hitting him in the face. And then, of course, Chiefs fans and people online are like, well, this should have been offsetting penalties because he's hitting him in the face. And then it's like, yeah, the defensive end or tackle or whatever is hitting him in the face because he's holding him so aggressively, and there's a ref standing 5 feet behind him looking directly at him. No flag. And again, the safety wasn't a safety. There were other calls in that game against the Jets that benefited the Jets and hurt the Chiefs. But why is it always penalties only at the end of the game that make sure the Chiefs either win the game or don't lose the game? Why are those only penalties ever called in favor of the Chiefs? That's my number one question. Because I sent you the holding play against the Chiefs Jets. I mean, that's a play you show when you're training referees to be like, this right here, this is holding. This is when you call holding. But of course, it's 3rd and 20 for Patrick Mahomes. He gets a first down out of it. So we can't.
And he played awful, by the way.
Well, SportsCenter needs to have their weekly come over a Patrick Mahomes play. So we can't erase that play because that's the potential play everyone ejaculates over. So,
dude, and it's crazy because Zach Wilson outperformed Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I saw this crazy stat, which was this is the first game in Patrick Mahomes' life, okay, in his college career and in his professional football career, where another quarterback has had a better quarterback rating in the game than Patrick Mahomes. And that person was Zach Wilson, which is astounding. Like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
But
I mean, and if this game wouldn't even been close if it wasn't for Pachenko, he had an absolute monster game. He had 115 yards. He had a touchdown there. Even receiving on three targets, he had 43 yards. Really good game for him, man. Like, this game wouldn't have been close if it wasn't for Pachenko and the Zebras, dude. Yeah. And it was so bad. And BJ, I want this rant so bad. I've been waiting for it. BJ, would you tell us why the Zebras would be calling in favor for the Chiefs? Not because they're just the Chiefs, but the NFL. Why? Just why? Let's get into this.
So the Chiefs win this game 23-20 against the Jets. The Chiefs are now 3-1. Jets
No, they're 2-0. They're 2-0 though.
Oh, that's true. So then after this game, everyone in the football community is either bitching or trying to defend the shit officiating at the end of the game because, again, only end of the game shenanigans ever benefit the Chiefs. The rest of the game, it's ticky-tack shit on both teams. Only in the fourth quarter, especially when the Chiefs are down or the other team's driving, then all of a sudden it's holding calls are ignored, except if it's against the Chiefs and blah, 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 blah. So this is from Dov Kleeman on Twitter. The official now, after Sunday night, after the Chiefs-Jets game, the official NFL Instagram account now says Chiefs are 2-0 as Swifties. Less than 12 hours after, we haven't even talked about the holding on Sauce Gardner, which I think is more of a, this is a penalty. Oh, except they didn't call the penalty until the ball was intercepted. So if it's a holding call, why are you not throwing the flag when the holding occurs? Why do you wait till the ball's intercepted and then all of a sudden it's a hold? So it's either holding and then an interception, or it's holding and then the rest of the play doesn't matter. But again, it was only called after interception. So of course that doesn't affect the Chiefs because why would it? because now the NFL, their official Twitter, their official profiles across fucking social media on Instagram, it says Chiefs are 2-0 as Swiftie, because of course Taylor Swift was at this game, because now there's a bunch of celebrities always going to Chiefs games because they know, oh, hey, the Actors Guild is still on strike. Well, I'm a attention whore. I need to have the camera on me. So now she's filling Chief suites with other celebrities because the NFL is going to cut to them 19 times during a fucking Chiefs game. And also, the LinkedIn page for the NFL now says, we have the best day with you today. And it's a picture of Taylor Swift behind the NFL logo. So 2-0 is Swifties. Taylor Swift is also in the, I think on the Facebook and Instagram and all their accounts, she's the header. So as the NFL, why the fuck would you, after all these blown calls and people bitching that you favor the Chiefs so much, why would you tailor make, pun there, why would you tailor make your fucking Instagram and all social media posts as a shrine to the Chiefs and Taylor Swift? Are you fucking stupid? Are you a fucking idiot? Like, why would you? And again, I saw it literally right before we started this podcast. They did on the NFL's Instagram page, I believe, they did a montage of like, this was the NFL in September, and their caption was, let's see what the script writers cooked up, or some bullshit like that. You, as the NFL, cannot do the thing where you're also making jokes about the super played out, the NFL is scripted, like, narrative and meme that is already fucking dead. And especially when corporations start using memes, it's officially dead. But you can't then be like, oh man, isn't this so funny how everybody thinks our games are rigged? Now we're going to joke that our games are rigged, when you just had your marquee game of the week called in for questioning about being rigged. Like, are you fucking dumb? Like, whoever the whole company, whoever runs their fucking Instagram thing, like, you're stupid. Like, there's your rant, Casino.
Here.
But now to talk
As
about,
you could tell, we do not like Taylor Swift, like, at all.
Well,
I don't like
care. I don't even give a shit.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So let me rephrase that. Like, we're not a fan of the music. We just don't listen to it. We don't care about Taylor Swift because, we're not Swiftie. We don't, she means absolutely nothing to us, but obviously she means the world to literally everybody, especially, the female demographic. Did you see like the numbers that came in for, and I don't know how in the hell do they gauge this? Like, this just makes me question, how do they gauge this? That they were like, oh, females from the age of like 13 to 18.
Oh, I've never understood that. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah. Creepy.
But again, it's getting like, good for the NFL that it's getting them all these new viewers and all this kind of stuff. And Travis Kelce's jersey is like selling off the fucking charts. But it's also like, that's great and all, but why, again, this is my whole thing with movies. Why do you want everybody to go see your movie instead of catering to the fan base that will see this movie 5 times if it's great? You get what I'm saying? Like, for the NFL, you already have diehard fans of everything. So you're now catering to a select group of people that the second Taylor Swift doesn't go, all of a sudden, all those people leave. So it's like this dumb mindset of short-term profits and not thinking about like long-term gains. Yeah. It's like your stock price is going to be much higher, but then guess what? It's not going to be sustainable. So then it's going to tank. So would you rather have consistent growth, or would you rather have a giant spike and a giant decline? Like,
You know what's
that
really fun? You
doesn't
wanna know
make
who's gonna
sense.
benefit the most out of this though? Like all of this is gonna be Travis Kelce because if him and Taylor Swift do work out, like, dude, you are now you're the eyes of the world superstars man. Like, you've got it made. Like you have it made. And then let's just say if it doesn't work out and he turns into a song, how all those young girls and girls that are his age and whatever, blah blah, our age, that when I say young girls, I mean I consider us young. I'm talking like our age. Um, that he's gonna be like, with all these jersey sales, they're all gonna be like, oh, poor Travis, poor Travis. He's gonna have the pick of the lot. Like he can do whatever he wants. Like I dated Taylor Swift, so everybody's like, oh, if he dated Taylor Swift, and he dates me, I'm as awesome as Taylor Swift. He's been like he's set for life. Like he has the world like in his hand. Good for him. Good for him. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Like he's playing the long game. He might even be like, I don't care if I turn into a song. I'm gonna have the rest of my life just taken care of. So
Ugh.
sorry. That's the thing.
Ugh.
That's the thing. All right. You feel better?
Yeah,
I know you
I'm out
don't
of
have much
breath.
time, so let's just roll through these last games.
Well, do you Seahawks Giants? That was a bad game. Giants are
No, but
bad.
I do want to talk about a little bit the Seahawks. Were the Giants this bad or the Seahawks this good with their defense? 11
I think
sacks.
both. I think both.
11 sacks. That was insane. Like it was tough to watch. Like the first half was bad because the officiating, there was no flow to the game. It was just flag, flag, flag. But then the second half was just an absolute blowout. Um, yeah, it was tough to watch. It was absolutely tough to
Yeah,
watch.
that was a bad
Um,
game.
you know who was awesome in that game? And then just a little shout out to him was Devin Witherspoon. Did you see that 97
I
97
did.
yard pick six? Plus he had 2 sacks in the game. This rookie, man, he became I pulled this up because I want to talk about it. He became the third rookie in NFL history to record 2 sacks and a pick six in a single game, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. No, that was I do think
And that's since the sacks have become a thing. So that's what back in the early 80s or something like that.
yeah,
So
I think yeah.
take that with a
70s
grain of
maybe?
salt. No, it's in the 80s, early 80s. Take that with a grain of salt though.
But so 24-3 with the Seahawks casino, I don't think it's even a question. I think what they're doing right now is sustainable because
Oh
last
yeah.
year
Sustainable all
we
day.
said it. They had a top 5 offense, the worst defense in the league. Well, now all of a sudden they have a pretty damn good defense, and their offense really hasn't like skipped a beat. So this looks like, I mean, once you get past Eagles, 49ers, Cowboys, I think you can legitimately make a case for the Seahawks to be the fourth uh fighting for third best team in the NFC. Like, I
That's
mean,
that
I don't even think
the
it's a question.
fighting for it for sure.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see though that Geno Smith, that nasty tackle, that dangerous tackle that happened to him. He is okay. He's fine. He escaped serious injury, so that's good and happy to hear that. But yeah, that was nasty. So
Let's see.
good for that. I'm glad Geno Smith's doing good because I'm liking Geno. I think he's playing well.
So we're wrapping up here. Last couple games we haven't talked about. Vikings, Panthers. Vikings get their first win of the season. Buccaneers bounce back from getting demolished by the Eagles to then demolish the Saints 26-9. And then there was one more game. Oh, the 49ers blew out the Cardinals 35-16. Chargers barely beat the Raiders
Does
24-17.
McCaffrey look good, buddy? Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever see another player win MVP who isn't a quarterback, but I think right now the MVP of the league is Christian McCaffrey, right?
All
Like the
day.
numbers
Dude,
he's putting up are
fits.
ridiculous.
And I know you're feeling on their coach, but that's a match made in heaven, man. But that's a man, San Fran.
Wait, you cut out there.
He's crushing it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying it's a match made in heaven for him and oh my gosh, Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I will say I don't think the The Cowboys have really scared me as an Eagles fan to
Or
face the Cowboys because of what the Cardinals did to them, where you can run all over them. And obviously, the Eagles
oh, all
are
day. We already knew that.
the potential best rushing team in the league. The 49ers, however, this season do scare me. Their defense is legit. I mean, I never said it wasn't, but also their offense. Like you said, I don't know how you stop Christian McCaffrey with
You can't.
anybody in the league. And then Brock Purdy, 20 for 21 for 283 yards and 1 touchdown.
Dude,
And then
he might be the next Brady. I'm not kidding. Like, Mahomes is good, really good. We see that, but I mean, Brock Purdy might be the next tier coming in. He might be the next guy after Mahomes. Like, he's looking good, and yeah, it's
Well,
impressive.
especially like you said, a team basically tailor-made to what he does good that pumps up all his positives and hides any negatives he has
Oh
because
yeah,
this offense is tailor-made for him. And I mean, you've seen other quarterbacks in this offense that
you
Jimmy
can't
G
stop
was
saying
good.
Taylor now, man. Just
Y-
so by the
Yeah.
way,
Ugh. But yeah, so 49ers look like the best team in the NFC to me. I think they look better than the Eagles, even though I think the Eagles, this was their first game where I was like, they actually look pretty damn good. On the AFC, I still think it's Bills Dolphins. I'm interested to see what that second matchup between those two
Bengals come
teams.
back.
But on Friday's show, we'll obviously talk about
We
Bears
need to talk about some
Commanders.
college ball.
We got to talk about college football. We'll talk about
How Colorado actually sucks.
I mean, that game against USC, they looked better than they did against Oregon, but yeah, we'll do some college football picks on Friday. We'll make our picks for the NFL this weekend. Also, this weekend I am going to the Rams Eagles game. So I will be at
Nice.
that game. My
Nice.
first NFL game I've ever been to in my life.
Oh, nice. And then in 2 weeks, I'm going to the Patriots Raiders game so I can watch the Patriots lose again.
Hopefully it's in as hilarious fashion as the last Patriots Raiders game.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate that.
But yeah, I've been Will. That's been Casino, and this has been the Only Sports Podcast. Adios. Enjoy that beer, Casino.